Does evil really exist? Is there such a thing as evil? So, evil is a concept created by humans to try to understand what's happening around us and why people behave like they do. But the thing with humans is we like everything to be black or white. We're very binary. So we've created this idea of good and evil, which has been perpetuated by religions and myths and popular culture. But the universe doesn't work like that, actually. It's much more subtle. When we ask the question, is there such a thing as evil, in the wider universe, the answer is no. People might do things on Earth, which the human race construes of as evil, but it's not seen that way in the higher dimensions at all. What the universe sees is opportunities to learn. Another important thing to understand when we're asking, does evil exist, is that the universe is made up of neutral, positive, and negative energy. And the amount of each isn't static, it ebbs and it flows. Energy can't be added or subtracted, but it can be converted from one form to another. And that's something we observe in 3D Earth physics, but it's also true throughout the whole of the universe, through all of the dimensions of the universe, on a macro and a micro scale. So karmically speaking, our thoughts and our actions are either positive, negative, or neutral. Every time you have a mean thought or you behave in a way that's less than ideal, you generate negative energy. And every time you allow someone else's bad behavior to affect you, you generate negative energy, even though you're doing it in a more passive way. And what happens is that negative energy finds its way out into wider society and it takes the place of positive energy. So bad things are more likely to happen. Think of it like this. Imagine you have units of energy in your system which are waiting to be used. Until you manifest a thought or an action, they're neutral. And we see this idea in the slit experiment in quantum physics. So you have a choice whether you're going to convert a unit of energy to positive or negative, or whether it's going to remain neutral. And what you decide, consciously or unconsciously, manifestly impacts not just you, but society as a whole. And that's why it's so important to learn to take control of your conscious mind and the thoughts it generates, and to hold yourself accountable for your behavior. Don't let yourself make excuses. But the question is there such a thing as evil? So I'm going to explain how this system of positive versus negative energy relates to that question. So I've explained in another video that we're playing the game of life. I'll link you to it. But the game of life is something we've created ourselves as souls to make our learning experience here on Earth more interesting and competitive. And we're willing participants in this. No one's doing anything they didn't sign up for. Now there's a team in the universe headed up by a soul called Mephistopheles. And that team's job is to take the negative energy we create and to use it to generate resistance. Mephistopheles descends from Lucifer, and that's the reason why we have the idea of Lucifer as the devil in Christian tradition. So this team's there to create resistance using our negative energy, and that can come in many forms. But, it can be used to stimulate the kind of behaviors that we would think of as evil here on Earth. But this is the crucial factor. This team can only use what we give them. So the more negative energy we generate, the more harm they can perpetrate. And if every single person on the earth committed to what the Buddhists call right mind, right action, they would have no influence at all, because there wouldn't be any negative energy for them to use. And that's how it is in the higher dimensions, where society's already attained enlightenment. There's no evil in the higher dimensions. It's only on this dimension of Earth and the two below us where this team have any purchase at all. So the most important thing is, don't give them power. So what you need to do is you need to work on your positivity. Control your thoughts, control your behaviors. Most importantly, forgive the people who do you harm. However impossible that feels, forgiveness completely cancels out the negative energy they've generated. And that's why forgiveness and compassion were the pillars of Christ's teachings. It's not just personal, it's political. Your act of forgiveness resonates far more widely than you realize. It affects society. So let's talk about Mephistopheles and his team a little bit. First of all, this is going to sound bizarre to you, we should be grateful to them. Think of it this way. In the design of the universe, a team like this has to exist. It's part of the rules of the game. And Mephistopheles and his team have got a terrible job. They're enlightened beings. They don't want to perpetrate harm, but they are honor bound to use the negative energy we provide. We're the source of it, the human race. We ultimately generate their actions. They would love us to provide less negative energy. And they're also collecting negative karma. So in all these deeds that they kind of have to do, they're collecting karma, a massive karmic debt that at some point they are going to have to repay, because every single one of us at some point needs to be at zero. We need to be at equals and neutral. That's the karmic aspect of our universe. And for that reason, actually, the responsibility that Mephistopheles and his team have will actually transfer to another team. This happens actually regularly. It moves around from team to team. It just so happens that in this chapter of the Earth's history, in this dimension, it lives with him, it lives with Lucifer. But in another chapter, in another dimension, it could live with another team entirely. So this is a really good lesson to us not to be judgmental, because another time it could be your soul who's in that team and is working with those negative energies. Now, there is something I want to reassure you of, because this might all sound a bit frightening. We live in a benign universe. This universe is engineered for good, okay? So positive energy is far more powerful than negative energy. To generate positive outcomes, we only have to expend a fraction of what Mephistopheles and his team have to use to generate negative outcomes. The trouble is, our human suit is wired to negativity. It's a survival instinct. So we have to work really hard in our human avatar to build that positive mindset. It's mind over matter. We're using our conscious mind, which is the seat of the soul, to control our physical human nature. This is one of the major learning cycles we go through in our earthly incarnations. Even if you're not awakening, you have experience of this, because if you've learned to love exercise, or you've learned to control eating or other behaviors, then that is mind over matter. You're controlling your unconscious behavior with your conscious mind. So if you do your inner work, if you are awakening, if you invest in your awakening and you learn to control your system using your conscious mind, you'll see big changes very quickly. You'll have fewer negative events happen to you, and you will generate more positive events. Now, daily meditation, I'm always saying it, is your main tool for this. That's the foundation of everything. So I'll link you to a video that shows you how to do a really easy daily meditation. There's just one more thing I want to say, which is that we're in a learning environment, right? And every single soul is going to live every single kind of life in every single kind of human body. So there are always going to be people who are born without certain chips. And what I'm talking about here are, psychopaths, narcissists, those kinds of people. And these are often the types of people we generally think of as perpetrating evil. It's because they generate a lot of negative energy. It's very easy for Mephistopheles and his team to influence them. But if through collective positive action and thought, we create a society which is founded in compassion and tolerance and education, these types of people would be identified very early in their lives, and they would be helped before they could go on to do harm. So when I'm talking about global enlightenment, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, that by investing in our spiritual journeys, by becoming this change we want to see, we create this society that is non-judgmental and compassionate, and which works with these kinds of people to rehabilitate them. And that's why it's just so important to embrace this journey and commit to it. I know it's not easy, I've been through it, but the change that we can affect on this planet is monumental. We're going to transform society.